Hi, everybody. My name is Ben, and I'm the creator of the Beanie Sleeper. Usually I'm wearing it, but I just started this Sleeping with Ben podcast, and I just want to make sure the sound is really good. Oh, by the way, it's now available on Spotify. So I'm Ben. I'm the creator of the Beanie Sleeper. Yay. Anyway, today my guest is Jesse Hughson of Skill Hoarder Labs. I'm going to read a little thing, a little intro. So Jesse Hughson is a hoarder of skills, and we are going to get into that. And the owner of Skill Hoarder Labs, a product design and prototyping shop in Rochester, New York. Yay, Rochester, New York. So I actually met Jesse. I met you at the Rochester Open Coffee, shout out, up in Rochester. I'm of course in New York City, but I've met so many great people. I actually think Stephanie Ray is on here. She's actually a member in that. Let me give a shout out to her. Both Jesse and I are in her business coaching, so that's kind of fabulous. So shout out to you, Stephanie. All right, so let's get started. So I'm very curious about the name Skill Hoarder. I'm very curious about, I saw a video of what you do. So you basically somebody wants a product and you do everything to make that product. Is that about right?
Yeah. Oftentimes, I'm working with people from their initial concept. They may have a prototype, they may not, and I work with them all the way through to hand everything off to high volume manufacturers like injection molding, machining, and actually getting their product out to people. So we go through levels of prototyping and testing things and getting it to customers for beta periods and getting feedback on it and revising. So yeah, it's a little bit of everything. And the name Skill Hoarder comes from my penchant for just always being curious about something new and trying to fill in that gap in my knowledge. And then I've always wanted to be able to figure out how to sell those things. And it's like sometimes it goes one way, sometimes it goes the other. I need to learn something in order to finish a job, or there's something I'm interested in, so I try to figure out what thing is adjacent to what I'm already doing, and then figure out if I can sell that thing so that I can pay myself to learn it, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. I think what I think is really cool, and what you've done is you're like, I need all these things to make X, and I'm going to find people to do it. And if I can't find them, I'm going to learn it myself. And I think that's really cool. But how did you come to that? I mean, yeah, how did you come to that? Did a project come to you and it's like, I need more people, I'm going to gather them in? What made you come to that idea?
Yeah, so for years I was actually just really stubborn and just had the mindset I can just do anything myself. And also a lot of the projects that I wanted to work on, I didn't have the money to hire somebody else for it. So it was partially out of necessity, partially out of just not having my eyes open to there being other paths and working with teams and knowing ways to get funding to be able to hire either hire outsourced stuff or hire employees for stuff. So only in the past 4 years or so have I grown my team out to where it's more than just me here. So I don't know if that answered your full question about.
No,
yeah.
That's it. It's okay. I just really respect the fact that you needed a team, you grew out a team. You know, a lot of entrepreneurs find it hard to give up control of certain things.
Yeah. I can identify with that. Yeah.
Oh God, me too, 100%. I mean, when I was creating Beanie Sleeper, once I started dealing with a factory, it was literally like let go, let God kind of thing, because not only was it out of my hands, it was in another country. I mean, it takes a lot of faith in other people and their abilities. So I think that says a lot about you and your belief system in yourself, your business, and other people. I think that's pretty incredible. Was Skill Hoarders your first attempt? Is it your? I mean, I don't know if your entrepreneurship started there, but is that kind of like your first foray into it, or was there something prior?
Yeah, so I would say I definitely had an entrepreneurial spirit ever since I was a kid, but I didn't always identify it as that. Um, I was always excited to do stuff like, sell candy bars around the block, or like I would like try to create my own store. I would make little crafts and go door to door and try
Oh,
to sell them,
cool.
and like I
That's cool.
uh, didn't make the connection that could, growing up, that could be like a real thing, that was like, sort of business skills. Uh, Somehow, again, maybe it's just like stubbornness, not seeing outside of whatever box you create yourself for yourself. But when I got into my 20s, I started kind of spinning up side businesses. I was doing carpentry work and handyman work for my landlord, and um, in my later 20s, I started doing some graphic design and some web design, and um, I'd always had all these various interests that never quite meshed or collided. But somehow between my mid 20s and early 30s, things like started to knit together a little bit, and I started to realize like, okay, now I've got skills in tech and electronics and woodworking, and then I added in CNC machining. I added in um, 3D CAD modeling, making videos, and it's all of a sudden occurred to me like, hey, these are all the things that I need to do to be able to work with clients to like bring their products to life.
Hmm.
And I kind of skipped over a part there where I had a couple. I've had various flavors of my business through that time. Um, some were service based, some were product based. So I have a couple product lines. Um, and then yeah, a couple years ago, it hit me that that wait a minute, I could be, rather than trying to do everything myself here and like sell the products and market the products, I could
Hmm.
focus on just making them because I've got all this equipment in my shop now, and I've started to build out the team. And then so for the past 3 to 5 years, the focus has been on uh, the prototyping um, and product development services. So uh,
That's really cool.
yeah,
You know, it's funny. You brought up stubbornness, your stubbornness, and it
yeah.
just made me think because um, in our coaching, we're reading about we just got a book about mindset, and
Hmm.
I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek. Start with why, and then the
Hmm.
infinite game, right?
Hmm.
Which I'm just a big fan of the whole finite mindset and infinite mindset, and it seems like you had a shift from a finite to an infinite because you were like doing it all yourself and you were stubborn, but then you went, oh, something happened and you shifted this way to more of an infinite mindset where you're actually able to like see further than like, the one project. Do you have a handle on when that was? Because I'm dying to know.
I think it's an ongoing process. It's
Hmm.
constant. It's in little areas here and there where I realize like I've kind of had tunnel vision and there's other ways to do it. And it's just um, so it's kind of a constant thing to uh, I don't know, to be open to. I can't, I don't know if I can think of one thing that was like, okay, this is
It's
it,
just like a
that I have
series
to
of
change.
things. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, just continually letting myself know like, hey, I'm not done yet. I'm not there yet. There's more things that I haven't learned. There's more possibilities that I haven't explored or found out about. So
So
that
I'm
I
really,
guess maybe is the mindset or the shift, but I don't know when
because
that started. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard to pinpoint when you have that specific aha moment, but it's very
Mhm.
apparent in the way you speak that you definitely had that shift. It, I mean, it's very cool to
So
listen to you.
yeah, I mean, I could talk in like more broad generalizations about when I was younger. I didn't have a lot of maybe confidence in my skill sets and abilities um, until I got into my 20s. I got out of school and was able to just try stuff in the world um, and realized, a lot of the things that I had judged myself or felt judged about when I was younger are actually strengths and are like my superpowers now.
Right.
You know, I'm very ADHD. I didn't do well in school, and so I always felt like, oh, I'm dumb. I'm not going to be able to get this type of career. I'm not going to be able to do this or that. But at the same time, there's things where I can like run circles around other people in, you know, visual, spatial stuff, design work, technical things that I rarely meet people who can operate in so many of those areas that I can. And so, you know, like Einstein said something like, if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, then, you know, it's not gonna look pretty good. So like, yeah, you gotta like figure out what your thing is. And so I've been doing that over the past few years. And,
you know, I remember I read something that you wrote when you wrote back to me about a question I was going to ask, and you brought it up here with the ADHD and and I hope it's okay, the chronic anxiety that you talk about,
Sure.
and how that affected you in school. And you said something to the effect that, you know, schools aren't really set up for that. They're not set up for entrepreneurs in the sense of trying new stuff. And I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I didn't know what the word entrepreneur was when I was growing up. All I did is I saw my dad at 50 leave his job to start his own business. And that was my first, like, people do this? You can do this? Yeah. What? And I think it might have been really kind of maybe a little better if they would say in schools that you can do this. Not everybody needs to have a PhD. You can do this. So I got to ask you, because I know you have kids. Are you finding it's better for them in school, or is it the fact that you know what to look for because you see it in yourself, how to kind of help them through the process?
Yeah. So actually, for years before they were school age, I wanted to homeschool because I felt like the school system didn't serve me all that well until I got into an alternative education program. And so I didn't want to put my kids through the same public school system where they're just, you know, being stamped and graded like a piece of meat. You know, reality kind of hit and realized I don't have time to homeschool. I've never studied teaching. So they are in the public schools right now, but ever since COVID hit, and they've done great actually. So Rochester has a Montessori style school. It's a part of the public school system. It's part of RCSD. And RCSD has a lot of problems, but I've been mostly happy with what they've done there. And the Montessori style kind of lets kids explore things at their own pace. And so I've been pretty happy with that. And so from what I've seen from there, at least it looks like there are more options or more flexibility. And the kids have done great there up until COVID hit and they went 100% remote. So actually where they were like a year or more above their grade level up until COVID hit. They're now falling back. So they're pretty much at the expected average level now, but from where they are, I can see it. If I'm talking through a math problem with them, there's concepts that they had a year ago that they're struggling with now. So I don't remember what your original question was. There's my ADHD, but like
no, it's okay. Yeah. I was just wondering, given your experience in school, how that has helped them to not feel bad when they can't do something, or not feel that things have to be a certain way and that's it.
Right.
That was kind of the question, but I loved your answer.
Yeah.
Though.
So we're thank you. Yeah. So we're supplementing with there's actually an outdoor school that they go to a couple days a week. And so we actually take them out of their Zoom calls and they go to do that. And then we found a tutor to work with one of them as well. So
Very cool.
And we're looking at other programs, but
it's really cool. That's really great. I'm curious though, how for skill hoarders, how has COVID affected that? I mean, how did your business change? How did you adapt? Was it, I mean, for me, to be honest with you, Beanie Sleeper took off because I was able to do 24/7 of Beanie Sleeper.
Awesome.
As opposed to like having to do a day job and then, right? So I'm just wondering what your experience was, because you're in a building with a lot of people and a lot of machines, and now not so much. So.
Yeah. So when COVID first hit, we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if it was going to be, riots in the streets, and of course there were, but not for the reasons that we thought it was going to be in March. But we didn't know if what was going to happen. So when the kids started homeschooling, I transitioned to working from home. I shut down the shop because we were non-essential business at the time as well. So I could come in, from time to time and do stuff here, but I didn't feel comfortable leaving my kids and wife at home all day. So I tried to switch gears to do as much work as I could from home. And a lot of the work that I do is just computer-based. So I was able to do a lot of my work from home. But interesting stuff kind of happened with the industry. So a lot of projects that have just been kind of on the back burner for months, all of a sudden the clients were like, we want to do this now. Whether they're, and I don't know what all the reasons for that was. Some of the things I've heard from other people in manufacturing is that a lot of people are starting to onshore stuff, or they're trying to get a project through while materials are still available. And so demand actually went way up, but my capacity to get anything done went way down because I didn't have staff here in the building. I was trying to keep my kids on their Zoom calls during the day. And so it hit me kind of hard, but not for the same reasons as most people were, for a lot of industries, work just completely dried up, or they were non-essential and couldn't do anything. For me, if I could come into the shop, I could get some stuff done, but I didn't have as much opportunity to do that, and I didn't have my staff here. So it was a rough few months, but it was also good to have that time with family and that time to step back and take a look at things. So one of the things I did was eventually I decided I should get a manager to handle a lot of my admin work for me, so that I could focus more of my time on billable work. And so that's been a major step in the right direction, and something I probably should have done years ago. Probably the first role that I should have hired for is to get somebody to do all the emails and scheduling and budgets and bookkeeping and all that stuff that I don't like doing and doesn't make the business any money. So so it made me restructure in that way.
Let me ask you, like sleep rituals. I remember you talked about, or at least you said, not today, but I heard you talk about you have insomnia, or you've had insomnia, or you suffer every so often. But do you have like sleep rituals that you can share with us?
Should I start with the ones that are that do work, or the ones that don't work?
I'm going to leave that to you. I mean, you have sleep rituals that don't work, and they're still rituals. Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
Is that when you want to torture yourself?
No. So when I can't sleep and nothing is working, I'll just do some work. So that's probably not a good ritual, but I feel like it's better than laying in bed and beating myself up for not being able to fall asleep.
Gotcha.
And so that's that's probably an example of not a great one. Or watching YouTube. There's always this fine line of like, can I actually get myself back to sleep, or do I need to like keep my mind busy so I'm not torturing myself this whole time? So those ones I would say are questionable. Maybe just like Band-Aids rather than treatment. But the things the major thing for me is anything I can do preventative. So if I can get out and get some cardio, that's huge. Cardio. So I have general anxiety, or I don't know if there's a difference between general anxiety and chronic anxiety, but if I'm getting regular cardio, it's almost completely gone. And like otherwise, I've lived most of my life not even knowing that it's there, or not having a name on it, but I live much of my life just always just in a worry state. That's part of what's driven it's part of my motivations to like constantly be learning more and trying to build the business is like, what's the next thing? What if this doesn't work? I should learn this thing. What if that doesn't work? I should learn this thing. And so, now that I have collected a lot of that stuff and put it together, it's great and I can leverage it. But yeah, the anxiety is, I don't know, I could say that there's silver linings to it like that. But that underlying feeling that like, something bad is going to happen. I didn't know, like I was feeling that for years and not knowing that I was feeling that. And that's come and gone throughout my life. But I've definitely noticed over the past few years that if I'm getting good exercise, and I'm eating well, I'm able to sleep better. And then if I sleep better, I'm able to stay on a routine so that I can keep getting good exercise. So I went in a big circle or figure eight there with this answer.
No. I just think that's really great, because I think what's great about you is that you identify the problems, you name them. You don't just, I don't know what that is, and wander through your day. You're like, I need this skill. I learn it. I'm having trouble sleeping. Let me figure this out. I just think that's kind of fantastic. And I think that's probably why, that's a good reason why your business is successful, is because you kind of do that. And I think that's pretty amazing in an entrepreneur, because, what do they say? What you got to know what you don't know.
Right.
And I think that's really great. And I think that's really fantastic. Tell people how we can reach you. How can people get a hold of you here, and tell people how they can reach you?
Yeah. Through my website is probably the best way. I'm not on Instagram as much as I should be for a business owner. Instagram, I'm at Skill Hoarder. My website is skillhoarder.com. And then there's a contact form there. Cool. And then the email is jesse@skillhoarder.com.
Do you have a YouTube channel yet?
I do. I've actually got a few hundred videos on it, but most of them are unlisted. I think I've actually only got one listed video on YouTube right now. A lot of them are videos I've done for my clients, and so they're like technical videos. And then for a while I was doing a lot of maker videos, and I've decided I wanted to rebrand that, so I've just unlisted all of them and working on a new series right now. So.
Oh, that's really cool. Maybe when you're when that's up and running, you can come back and we can chat about that, because I'm very fascinated. I'm really fascinated with content. I didn't used to be, but I'm very much about content right now, and creating communities around either a product or an issue or just things, just stuff. So I think that's really cool. Jesse, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for the cuddle. I felt it. I felt the cuddle.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. It made my day. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. I'll be here next week at 1 p.m. Hopefully no technical difficulties, but I just want to say thank you to everybody who watched and everybody who's going to watch. Have a very safe week, and catch you next week. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.